right, folks, we are back here on Straight Out of the Cannon with me, Scott Cannon here. It is 7/27. 7/27 here on June the 7th, 2024. This show, if you can remember, is about the youth, America's youth. And earlier, in the first segment, we talked about how, today's young people aren't even safe from the people whose job it is to educate them, the teachers. Yes, so many young children, even young boys, are being targeted by their teachers. That was our first segment. In our second segment, we talked about how young people today are so unhappy in this society. And now I wanted to get into what exactly is going on health-wise with young people, because it's not just about their mental health, physical health. The physical health of young people is really in perilous times. What is causing cancer in so many young people? That's right, cancer. We are finding out that things like cell phone radiation, research was halted after finding worrisome findings. After decades of research on animals, it is now shown that cell phone radiation exposure can have an effect on your health. The National Toxicology Program, or the NTP, was tasked with studying potential toxins, and they recently announced that they would no longer investigate evidence that cell phone radiation can harm animals or people. Now, this move was stunning to a lot of scientists because they say there is no scientific explanation or justification for this sudden reversal. Now, the NTP claimed that additional radio frequency studies are not planned and stated that the research was technically challenging and more research intensive than expected. But now we are seeing that the system only studied older 2G and 3G devices and not the newer 4G and 5G technologies. Oof. A court has found that the FCC illegally ignored the health risks of the 5G technologies after the NTP published results from 2018 from a 2-year toxicology study showing clear evidence of association between the 2G and 3G cell phone radiation and tumors in male rats. Follow-up research in 2019 showed DNA damage in the brains, liver, and blood cells of exposed rats and mice. So again, oftentimes mice are used as a proxy for humans in these types of studies. They ended this research once they saw that the mice were coming down with tumors in their brains and livers and blood cells from this exposure from 2G and 3G cell phone radiation. So do you think that these things, like I'm holding up right now, my phone, that we have with us at all times, could possibly be having something to do with the fact that so many young people are coming down with cancers? I don't know. In 2019, the FCC basically affirmed the outdated 1996 radiation exposure standards for new 5G technologies, which didn't even exist at that point. To justify this, the FDA anonymously produced an unreviewed document in 2020, and the EHT, or the Environmental Health Trust, sued the FCC. In 2021, the U.S. Court of Appeals in the District of Columbia Circuit Court ruled against the FCC. The court said that the FCC acted improperly and illegally by keeping its 1996 wireless radiation exposure limits. The court found the FCC ignored evidence that radiation below its current limits can cause health effects besides cancer, and noted that the FCC also failed to respond to comments about the environmental harm caused by all this cell phone radiation. Again, this thing that every young person from the age of like 4 or 5 is carrying around with them at all times. Now, since 2019, France has mandated that cell phones include warnings to keep such devices away from teenagers and pregnant women, lower abdomens, because of radiation risk. And we see this actually a lot in other countries. How many of you guys know that a lot of the food that we eat here in this country is actually banned in much of Western Europe? Did you know that? I bet you didn't. A lot of the food we eat here is banned in other countries. They won't take our cows. Our cows, they will refuse to take them in many other countries because of the hormones and steroids they are pumped full of and the health effects that those things have. And this is just another instance in which Western Europe is ahead of the curve on things that affect us here in the United States. But because we live in a corporatocracy, we live in a country where a few rich people own and control everything, our media included, which is bought and sold by the corporate state, can completely capture, audience capture completely. The audience is the billionaire class. This is what you get. Now, landlines, you know, young people don't know what landlines are. But landlines are basically in our houses. We used to have these things called phones that used to be connected to the wall. That is called a landline. Yes, we all used to have landlines, which offered an alternative to cell phone. But the FCC's 2019 order allowed carriers to abandon the copper lines. Companies like Verizon have started retiring their landlines, leaving consumers with only wireless options. So now the only options we have are these 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G technologies that may be causing cancer in all of us. Now, what can we do about that? We cannot carry phones in pockets or bras, which is going to be hard for me. I'm going to have to find some place to put my phone. Using speaker phones and holding your phone away from your head and body. I do that a lot. Keep your devices away from your reproductive organs. I will definitely try to do that one. I want my organs to be, my reproductive organs to be fine, so when I finally go to the senior center, I can get some action. I got about 20 or 30 years to keep these reproductive organs working, so I can go to the senior building like we talked about last week and really start having fun. And don't sleep near your phone. Don't sleep near your phone. And if you can use wired internet over Wi-Fi internet, please try to do that. Now, what are the consequences of all this? We are seeing accelerated aging in young people. These researchers say that they are looking for clues as to why these cancers are on the rise in young people, and they have found accelerated biological aging. Aging is a major risk for many types of cancer, meaning the older you get, the more likely you are to be diagnosed. And increasingly, experts are seeing that age is just more than a number of candles on your birthday cake. It is the wear and tear on your body. And they have actually found that people born in 1965 or later were 17% more likely to show accelerated aging than those born from 1950 through 1954. That is crazy. So young people are getting old faster. And if that's not enough, young people are dying of heart failure at record numbers. More young people are dying of heart failure, completely reversing long-standing declines in mortality rates. So we have to take care of ourselves, folks. I exercise 6 days a week. I do my best. I get on that treadmill. I take my vitamins. I told you guys during COVID, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Make sure you get your vitamin C, your vitamin D, your zinc. I take my ginger root. I take my omega-3s. You got to do what you got to do to take care of this vessel you got. Okay, I could probably eat a lot better. I'm not going to lie. But hopefully the exercise I do helps offset some of the not great eating habits. And I probably need to get more sleep as well. We need to get more sleep as a society, but particularly young people. And I think it's important. All of you out there who have children who are in their 20s and 30s, who have grandchildren who are in their 20s and 30s, you need to be talking to them about this, because they are dying of heart failure. A study that was just published on April 24th in JAMA Cardiology using U.S. death certificate data showed that deaths related to heart failure decreased from 1999 to 2012. Plateaued and then actually has been rising ever since 2012 to 2021, with an acceleration observed from 2020 to 2021. That is the rise of COVID and that a lot of you got in your arms. Now, the researchers found disparities between men and women among certain racial and ethnic groups. The greatest increase in heart failure related deaths occurred amongst individuals under 45. Oh man, that's me. Oh God, Jesus. Okay. Well, I avoided the predator teachers, thank God. And I don't feel I don't really feel that miserable. So hopefully I can avoid this heart attack as well. Like I said, exercise, take your supplements if you got to, and eat well and get your rest. According to this study, between 1999 and 2021, there was a reversal of the death rate of 906%. Good God. Good God. Good God.
Damn.
Yes. Yes. 906% reversal in the death rate among people under 45 of heart failure. And 385% among people between 45 and 64 years old, where I'll be in a few years. 84% for those 65 and older, and 103% overall. Good God. The analysis observed similar results when looking at heart failure as the underlying cause of death. According to the Journal of Cardiac Failure, approximately 6.7 million Americans over the age of 20 have heart failure. Wow. And the prevalence is expected to rise 8.5 million Americans by 2030. Folks, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to exercise. I don't see young people outside playing like I used to when I was a kid anymore. I think this is a big part of it as well. I've said this before. When I was a kid, we all had basketball courts. We all wanted to go outside and play basketball. That is what we lived for. And we had video games. We had Mortal Kombat. We had Street Fighter. We had NBA Live 95. We had, NBA Jam. We had video games. But the thing we lived for the most was to go outside and to play hoops or to ride our bikes. That was the thing that we loved doing the most. And I can't remember the last time I saw a 10-year-old boy here in Gary riding his bike while I'm driving around. I just don't see it anymore. I don't see kids on their bikes anymore. I don't see kids playing basketball out in the streets. Every once in a while I do. I'll see a kid a few times a year when I'm driving around playing basketball. You could not keep us off a basketball court when I was young. You could not keep us from playing football in the streets when I was young. And I can't remember the last time I've seen kids throwing a football around. And I drive by the parks and it doesn't look like there's usually anybody in them. What are we doing? We are setting up these young people for failure. Not only mental, but physical, heart failure. Because these young people are not moving. They are not exercising. They are not getting exposed to fresh air like they used to. We have to do better, folks. All you parents out there, you grandparents out there, hopefully you will take this information where you're seeing 985%, 906% rises in heart failure among people under 45 years old, and realize that the ways that we are actually raising and grooming these young people to take care of themselves is not working. All right, folks, now that we've got the bad news out of the way, it's time for some good news. When we come back, we are going to pay tribute to a young man, one of our own, bright and shining stars here in the city of Gary, who is making news all over the country. You won't want to miss this. We'll be right back after these here on Straight Outta the Cannon.